Hi out there, people. So, I'm coming up on my 22nd birthday this year, and as probably one of Gen Z's foremost minds, I feel it's worth it to give out some advice to my Gen Z peers, because I find that all too often there isn't much advice targeted specifically at Gen Z. Gen Z is often considered a lost cause, people older than Gen Z, and I also think that Gen Z happens to be in a very, very interesting spot sociologically, culturally, and temporally. And given everything that I've observed about the generation of people born from 1998 or so on to like 2012, some sources say 1997 to 2014, but all that stuff is loosely arbitrary anyway, so if you consider yourself a Gen Zer, then these are some tips for you that I think might help you in these strange times in which we find ourselves. So here's my little foray into an advice video, 5 tips for Gen Zers. Tip number 1. This is an obvious one, but form an identity early on in your life. Or if you don't have an identity and you're already like 20 or something, hey, it's never too late to start and just get a fucking identity already. You know, be a different person. Like me, for instance, I wear these sunglasses because here in Denver, all the guys happen to have this extremely tacky, noxious fashion sense where they have these fucking Hawaiian shirts, pencil mustaches, and like transparent glasses that aren't even prescription glasses. So basically the trend these days is to look like Weird Al. So I kind of buck that trend by wearing these gaudy wraparound sunglasses. Nobody around me wears sunglasses. See lots of fedoras and beanies. Those seem to be the hats that are in trend these days. So I got my green fucking straw boater here. I guarantee no one has a hat like this, especially not all these derivative one-offs want to look like Weird Al. So I'd say I have a pretty snappy fashion sense, and if someone sees me, they go, "Oh yeah, that's Nick right there. That isn't Joey Salad. That's Nick." But of course, developing a coherent, unique identity goes a lot deeper than that. You shouldn't just look online for like aesthetics or go like, oh, I'm going to make myself like a caricature of a kawaii cat girl or something. You know, actually take the time to reflect upon who you are and what your life means, where you're from, what factors led you to this point, the lived experience you've been through in so many ways. Once you do that, you can start developing an identity based on that, recount interesting anecdotes, talk about yourself, talk about where you've been, what you've done. You might not think your life is that interesting, but believe me, it's an interesting world right now, so you can come up with some interesting shit that's gone on in your life and use that, and that's powerful. So there you go. You formed an identity. And one reason why people often don't have a unique identity is because they want to fit in and they're afraid of rejection or people being like, oh, that's not what's popular and trendy right now. And people are very insecure and don't want to be shunned by society. But believe me, once you get shunned by society, the world opens up and it's your fucking oyster and you're just free to wander around vast, desolate stretches of grass like this. And I'd much rather be doing this than playing Fortnite or whatever's popular these days. So it's probably for the best that you express yourself in a unique way that's true to who you are, and don't worry about molding yourself to the people around you, because it doesn't matter. Fuck them. They'll probably be gone in like 3 years. Tip number 2, I would say, read a lot of fucking books and watch a lot of fucking movies, and especially read a lot of fucking comics. Don't play so many video games, don't spend too much time on the internet, and go outside a lot. I happen to go outside a lot, and it makes me extremely healthy to be connected with nature. And even if you can't get up into the mountains or into the forest or whatever, because you don't have a car, like I don't have a car, yeah, you can just go to like a park or a nice grassy strip like here on Monaco, and that's nice. And you can be like, yeah, I'm in nature right now, I'm in the real world. I don't have a cell phone, so whenever I leave the house, I'm just like, I'm not on the internet right now. I'm out in the world enjoying the physical reality in which I find myself, being extremely connected with physical reality. So your phone's a problem if you spend too much time on your phone when you're outside and you should just be enjoying life. Just leave your phone at home. But of course I have a desktop computer, so it'd be pretty wacky to use my desktop computer out here. I'd have to like design some kind of backpack apparatus or something. So that makes it difficult for me to use the internet when I'm out and about. But yeah, it makes me extremely mentally healthy. The other specific bit of this tip, read a lot of fucking books and watch a lot of fucking movies. I can't name how many Gen Zers just read or watch movies or books from like the past 10 years, but you really gotta read the classics. Read some fucking John Steinbeck, some Ernest Hemingway, some fucking Jack Kerouac. Read that shit and it'll give you the big brains. And if you feel like, oh, this is boring, then I don't know, just imagine all the characters as like kawaii cat girls or something, and then it'll be more entertaining for you. So there you go. Read some fucking books. It makes you such a more well-developed, interesting person, and also helps you out with developing a coherent identity, which was point number 1. And point number 3, don't accept identities that are negative or that are assigned to you. Like, for instance, a lot of millennials have this negative stereotype of Gen Z as being TikTok addicts or being like lazy or stupid or impossible to teach things. But for my personal experiences and interactions with Gen Z, I actually think millennials are a lot more fucking annoying. And that might just be my personal bias because I am Gen Z and I don't get millennials that much. I really think that millennials feel very guilty about, you know, how internet addicted they were, so they just kind of shove it onto Gen Z and then create this fake image like, oh, we're the last generation who didn't grow up using the internet. Neglecting that people have personal experiences. Like, I didn't grow up using the internet. I didn't start using the internet until I was like 16. And that was probably for the best for me. But, you know, just don't fall into stereotypes. It's very easy to fall into stereotypes that people just lump onto you. Fuck those stereotypes. Prove the haters wrong, you know? Show them that you're not exactly what they think you are. Surprise them. You know, legitimately get under their skin. And don't just use parents or teachers or professors or whatever as role models. Actually have some role models like celebrities who you actually like can identify with or relate to. For instance, one of my role models is David Byrne from the Talking Heads because he's one of the only autistic rock stars, and I can relate to his behavior and mannerisms quite a bit. It's a common belief in today's world that we don't need celebrities. We actually do need celebrities. There's a reason we've had celebrities since like fucking ancient Greece, and all the Greek playwrights got big rave reviews because people like that are fucking cool. And we need aspirational figures who you can look at, you know, people who are confident and cool and awesome, and you can look at and go, wow, I could be that one day, instead of just a bunch of sad, miserable, depressed losers like millennials mostly seem to be. So don't just use school or college or, you know, whatever as inspiration. Actually branch out, read some books, watch some movies, model yourself after someone who you think, wow, I'd like to be like that guy or girl, and or whatever, and, you know, use that as a jumping off point for yourself. And this is another point about stereotypes that millennials might not want to admit, but the only reason that Gen Z is stupid or lazy or impossible to teach or like hopeless is just because millennials are equally stupid and lazy and impossible to teach and hopeless. They're teaching us, so like the only reason that Gen Z would be failing is if millennials are failing. And I think millennials are failing a little bit more right now, in fact, because they're starting to feel old and out of touch. And this is a universal phenomenon that's happened with every successive generation since the beginning of time. When you grow old, you feel really out of touch. You feel really out of your element. Once you hit 30, suddenly you're not cool anymore. Suddenly you're not hip and in touch and, you know, in with it. That's how millennials are feeling. And just know that as a Gen Zer, in 10 years or so, you're going to feel the exact same way. And you're going to be talking down to the Gen Alphas. But, you know, for the time being, enjoy being the hip new thing. Enjoy being the, you know, the taste of a new generation, as Pepsi would say. Don't fall into stereotypes and do something new and fucking cool. Okay, point number 4 is that mental illness is psychosomatic. So if there's stuff in your life that's making you mentally ill, just cut it out. Just say, sayonara. You know, just cut that shit out with a nice surgical knife, and that's how you can stay mentally healthy, by just ignoring or avoiding anything that could possibly make you mentally ill. Like, for instance, say you drink a lot or you smoke a lot of weed. Well, weed is a narcotic and alcohol is a depressant. So if you're drinking a lot, that'll make you sad. And if you're okay being sad or whatever, then that's cool. But also, if you don't want to be sad, maybe consider stop drinking, and then maybe your life will be a little better. Or don't, whatever. Doesn't matter, right? The important thing is to acknowledge at all times your autonomy and the fact that you can take actions to directly improve your mental health. I do it all the time, and that's how I stay so mentally healthy, so cool and calm and collected, a fucking figure of absolute zen here in the Samhara Gardens. Been that way for a long time, so it's a balancing act, but you can get the hang of it. Also, it's worth mentioning that things like autism or ADHD shouldn't technically be considered mental illnesses, because illness denotes some kind of cure. And if you're born with autism or ADHD or something, then that's just who you are. Mental illnesses are things that can, like, go away if you, like, take action to remove them. But, you know, I'll always be autistic. So if you're autistic, don't at all feel bad about who you are, or like think about yourself too much or feel insecure about it, because that'll just lead to way more mental illness down the line, and you don't need that. So just be like really confident and acknowledge that unlike physical illness, which, you know, has like a biological or physical cause, mental illness is often caused by other people in your life who spread it to you, or an idea that worms its way into your mind one day, a mind parasite that attacks you, doesn't let go. But you've got to be stronger. You've got to use your will to say, fuck that shit. I'm gonna be cool now, bitch. Yeah! And then you go out into battle atop a massive T-Rex and you fucking slay life like the massive genius you are. Acknowledge and admit that the universe is meaningless, there is no God, and you have complete autonomy and free will to do whatever the fuck you want to do. You might face consequences as the result of your actions from your fellow human beings, members of your species, but at the end of the day, nobody can stop you from doing something if you want to do it. Just say, up yours, world, I'm gonna do what I want to do today. It helps a lot to acknowledge that people can be wrong, or stupid, or mentally ill, or all three at once. People can be mistaken, people can be misunderstood, people can be misinterpreted, and sometimes people are just freaking dumb. So don't deal with that shit. If you think you're right, then just say, fuck yeah, baby. Now that's the way to live. Okay, and tip number 5 is express yourself. Holy shit, I cannot stress this one enough. This is really important. Write a book, film a movie, make something, make some shit, communicate the ideas that you have, because if you don't, that is seriously unhealthy. It is not healthy not to communicate the ideas that you have, because then nobody will ever know what you're thinking, and like, what even is your life at that point if nobody knows what you're thinking? That's not entirely true. If you want to just make art for your own sake, if you just want to paint or write a diary or just get your thoughts physically onto paper, then that's fine too. But just don't leave them rattling around in your head, because if you have thoughts, if you have like severe thoughts or something, what can help is to manifest them, is to physically see them in front of you, and then you can go, oh, this is why I do this, this is why this happens, this is why this particular thing is so common in my life. If you inspect your life and all the various elements of it and fit them together like a puzzle, it'll suddenly click into place. So that's what self-expression does, is it makes your ideas more digestible, more coherent, easier to recognize, and easier to address. Yeah, that's my last tip, is holy shit, express yourself, and don't accept that there are no original ideas in art, or that postmodernism killed art or anything like that. That's complete fucking bullshit. There is no grounds to that claim, that's fucking nonsense. That's just a lie that big corporations made up to convince you that you're worthless. But if you don't express yourself, you kind of are worthless, because you're not creating anything, and you're not going, here's my thoughts, here's my brain juices trickling down into the world. I guarantee the most potent substance that you have in your possession, it isn't THC, it isn't the fucking weed gummies, it's just your fucking mind. Your mind is a valuable tool, an extremely useful resource, the most complex computer that we've ever witnessed in the known fucking universe, in the entire known fucking universe. So use your fucking brain and write some shit. And if you don't write some shit, and then you wind up goofy, then like, of course, you're not writing or drawing or, you know, expressing yourself. Of course you're gonna wind up miserable. So please, for your sake and for the world's sake, express yourself. Write a fucking novel. Write a novel of 150,000 words if you really think you have enough bottled up angst and repressed memories and trauma to do that. That would be a great fucking novel, and I'd love to read it. Okay, so there you go. 5 tips that I think could probably help Gen Z. Hey, I could be wrong. Maybe all the advice I just gave you is nonsense, and it won't help you at all. But you'll never know unless you try. So take the leap, take the plunge, charge the wave like greased fucking lightning. And until next time, I've been Nick R. Cicada, your favorite Gen Zer from here to eternity. Spadash.